Record to the computer. All right, let's jump over first things first. First things first. No, it's not very coming over to D2L. Everybody's being really good with a lot of assignments on on the D2L. Um, Backing up a little bit, review from last week. There's some extra stuff on 2/7 to 11. We have our weekly bombs over here, but there was an extra one. Um, just a reminder that if you submit a program and I grade it early, which if you're submitting them like Wednesday and Thursday, nice and early, I usually get to them. Saturdays and Sundays I can get busy and I'm not on it as much. But yeah, you can if it's before the deadline, you can resubmit. If you type something up and you realize I don't like this that much, you can resubmit before the deadline, as long as it's before the deadline. Um, yeah, what about building a string? We're now using what? Okay. We're now using these message dialog boxes for output. And instead of doing null, like down here at the bottom, null, comma, and then putting a whole bunch of stuff, what if I build a string? Like this message box would say, "Hi, mom, carriage return. The weather looks great, carriage return. Have a nice day." So I can get multiple lines, and I may want to be building as I go through a program. So this idea string equals the old string plus some new. I can keep adding on to that. It's kind of nice. Keep that in mind. Then this message dialog box is just null, comma, str or outstra, whatever you want to use. Week 4, yeah, here we go. Next week is going to be your first test. You have one of these 2 days to take it. Once you start it, you have to finish it. Okay. But I'm giving you a 2 day period, Thursday or Friday, in which to get in and take it online. Assignment 3.1 is up and available for next week. There is no quiz this week. The quiz for chapter 3 will be next week. And the code listings, they just keep rolling. They're due at 9:30 before the beginning of class. I have 3 students that haven't done a code listing yet, and I'm wondering what's going on there. A practice test. Want to make sure you are up and ready when you take the first test. So there is one that's on Respondus. Last week I sent out an email about, or excuse me, I posted about right here, proctored test, and I gave you 3 PDFs to download and take a look at. I do 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 do. I think I can grab. Oh, Sarah's here. Sarah is here. That means Brianna is the only one. We have 19 out of 20 today, folks. That's excellent. But where was I? Going back to, do you have any questions about these PDFs? I gave you directions. It's actually not mine. It's math department. I have to share it for you. You can come in and, do what you have to do, but it's this whole battle with students and cheating. And we're finding out more and more students are cheating. In fact, one of our professors just shared they had it all set up, but they started the camera too early. And the person sitting there said to his buddy, "Okay, do you have your computer set up and you're ready?" And the guy's like, "Yeah." And he said, "Okay, I'm going to start the test now." Didn't realize that he got himself kicked out of the class because his camera accidentally started too early. But I gave you those, easy to follow. A lot of you already have math classes. You may have even seen those same PDFs. Yeah. Aram says, yeah. Okay, so you're good to go with that. Are there any questions up to this point? You got anything? Otherwise, we're going to start rolling. We're done with input and output. We're going to get ready, excuse me, and start rolling in chapter 3. With a little luck, we'll have a bunch of time. I have a couple of programs I'd like you to work on to see what you can do to get this thing up and going. All right. Sections 3.1 to 3.4 today. Let's start by switching my camera. Bing a bing. There I am. Let's do view speaker and ta-da! That's what I got. Okay. You had three code listings, 3.1, 3.3, 3.5. Most of you have done them. And I hope that when we get talking about things in here, you're going to be going, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I got that from, I mean, it's really easy getting it from the code listing. Me forcing you to type it in is hopefully making you a better student. All right. So up to this point, we've been doing everything sequential. Line one to line two to line three to line four to line five, and just one line right after another. Well, there's going to be times where I want to be able to do this or something else. And some sort of decision is going to have to be made. And that's where this if statement comes into play. Now, what's the if statement look like? If followed by some sort of Boolean expression. I mean, it could be a Boolean variable. It can be, as you found out, a whole bunch of different things like averages greater than 90. Okay. But some sort of evaluation happens in here, and the if gets ready and starts rocking and rolling. All right. One way to write a program would be a flow chart. We don't get into it so much because it does take a while to draw the whole pictures. But here's kind of the flow of what's going on. I have a single alternative. I come in and I have a decision statement right here. There's my decision statement. And depending on how that decision goes, we're either going to have a true or a false as to what we want to do next. If it's true, I'm going to come over here and do some sort of, excuse me, block of code. If it's false, I keep moving on with the program. After I execute this block of code, I get right back into the program. Now, something that you may have seen looks like this. If average is greater than 90, that's going to evaluate as true or false. Big note here in red. Woo, woo. Bells are ringing, lights are flashing, screens are turning. Don't put a semicolon on. A semicolon says end of line, which means you say if average is greater than 90, do nothing. Do nothing. End of sentence, end of statement, boom. If average is greater than 9, I would hit this line right here, system.out.println A. And I may be in my program. This is line 21. This is line 22, line 23, line 24, and line 25 would move on. So if it's greater than 90, it's going to hit 22, 23, and 24. Otherwise, it's going to skip to 25. Right? Notice that I come in and I have my left brace and my right brace around this. What you're going to see in a second is if I only have one statement, I don't need the braces. Okay, and hopefully you noticed some of that while you were typing in the code listings, going through the book. Next thing is another version. This is another decision. This guy's called a double alternative. If it's true, it's going to follow this path. If it's false, it'll follow that path. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to have some sort of if, going to do these blocks of codes or these blocks of codes. All right. If average is greater than 70, you notice this is one line. And I don't need braces. Else, I can do multiple. When I do multiple lines, though, I do need the braces. So the braces are optional on a single line. Multiple lines, I need the braces. So that it says, hey, else, do all of this stuff on the else. If these braces weren't here, it would do this line, see out, every single time. So we need to make sure we have the brace. If your average is greater than 70, you are smart. Otherwise, nope. Yeah, nope. Okay? So here's the syntax, example layout of this double alternative. All right, so some of the stuff we can put in here is going to help us to get a result that is Boolean, get a result that is true or false. These things are called, ba, 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 ba. Here's 4 point on your next test, 4 point question. What are the relational operators? Less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. Oh, that's right. This guy is already used. He's my assignment operator. X gets a value of blah, 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 blah. So I can't use that for equals. I have to use this double equal sign. So this is equals. This bad boy is
Not equals.
not equals, right? This is the not equals. Good. Examples. X is less than 3. That's going to evaluate as true or false. This guy, does it equal 11? That is going to evaluate as true or false. Okay. So when I get ready and I start talking about relational operators, 2 points, you have to name all 6 of them. 2 points is, what do? They compare math expressions, is what we're going to put. They compare expressions. In our math world, 3 was an expression, right? It was a constant, but it was an expression. A variable, it has a value, it's an expression. Y plus 6 is an expression. Okay, so it's going to compare expressions, and my result is, well, what did we say up here? It's going to be either true or false. So my result is Boolean. Next test, 2 points. Those 6, 1 point. Compares expression, 1 point. Result Boolean. I'm giving you the answers to the next test already. Look at that. Actually, I give you all the answers to the test.
Can you re-explain kind of what you just went over just a second time?
If I have something going, oh, there it is. If something's going on in there, right? And it's going to be true or false. Say I want to, if Sarah, you have perfect attendance, then I will give you a C. Okay. If attendance for Sarah equals one, what do we have? 15 classes. If attendance equals 15, system dot out dot println, Sarah gets an A. Semicolon. Okay. Nothing up here. All right. That's one way of doing it. That's a single alternative. This is going to be true, true or false in here. Okay. One of the ways is that we do this. There's going to be a lot of things that we can put in here, but one is using a relational operator. We have 6 of them. It compares 2 things. We call them expressions. That comes right out of math. Result is Boolean. Second thing, and I said, well, no, wait a minute. If Sarah's attendance equals 15, yeah, I'm still okay with that system.out.println, blah, 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 blah. But if we're going to give a good deal, then we have to have a bad deal. So if your attendance, this comes out of here, it's not true. If it's false, it jumps down to the else. We're not going to put system.out.println, Sarah fails. This is a single alternative. It goes line 6, line 7, line 8. I hit 6. If it's true, I do this and then go to 8. If it's false, I jump right down to 8. Okay? And let's say this is line 20. 21, 22, 23, and 24. If attendance equals 15, I go to line 21. And then where do I go after line 21?
24.
Yeah, it's going to skip all this. It's going to go from here. Woo, do super duper looper. Woo. And it's going to go all the way down to line 24. If it's false, it skips line 21, does 22, 23, and down to 24. That help a little, Sarah?
Yes, yep, got it. And then just to clarify, um, the brackets would only be used if there's more than one alternative, correct?
Oh, but the brackets are not needed unless it's multiple statements. So, if, like we just said, after 21, we now jump out. What if I had in here, forget all that, I wanted to say Sarah fails. That's one statement. I also want to say Sarah repeats the course. And I also wanted to do x equals 6. So after this, I would now go down and skip all of this and come down to whatever line number this is. So this bad boy would come here. I have multiple statements that I want after this else. So when I have multiple statements, I put them in braces.
Awesome, thank you.
I embrace the braces. I just have to make myself laugh sometime. Yeah, this is a new concept. I think we're pretty good. Sarah asked the right question. And again, all of this is in your book. You're like down here at the bottom of this page, they're all there. And again, we're going to keep seeing operators and operators and operate. We just had the arithmetic operators add, subtract, multiply, divide, and modulus. Okay, what else has he got for us today? Moving over to, oh, now I got my camera all goofy. Moving over to section 3. Oh, hold on. Don't go anywhere yet. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. Here we go. 3.1. You type this bad boy in and you're saying, yep, this is cool because what do I got going here? I got oh yeah, Java data 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 util. That's right. I need this for my dialog boxes. I come in, my program's called average. Oh, look, this is nice. I have all of these variables, nice and easy to read. And of course, I know when I'm figuring out the average, my answer better be a double. Because if I said, what's the average of 0, 0, and 1, and I didn't have doubles in here, my average would be 0 instead of 0.33. So that's, yeah, I'm sorry. This is scanner because this is for the console. My bad. It's not for dialog boxes. We read stuff in, boom, boom, boom. When I'm using the console, I do all of this right here. 17, read it in, get them all ready. Find the average. Remember, we talked about the difference between integer division and real division and how we can mess that up. But boom, now we get into the if statements. If the average is greater than 95, Sarah gets an A and Sarah smiles. It's not pick on Sarah Day or anything. Do-do-do, sort of like the example I did. Read it in, read it in. Here's the average. Otherwise, the average also includes a that's a great score. Another one you typed in was 7.3, or excuse me, 3.3. Yeah, we're not in chapter 7 yet. Loan qualifier. Oh, you got some stuff going on in here, and all of a sudden I see an if statement, and I'm going, oh, so here's my braces. Here's my braces if it's true. It's going to go from here to here. So if this is true, I do all of this. Notice what's inside of here. Another if statement. This is called a nested if. We're upping the price of poker. This is a nested if inside of this. So those of you that don't like to indent, you could almost kind of see where if I say if here, this if, I don't know if this else goes with this or this. So the indenting is for you. The compiler doesn't give a rat's but it's for you so that you can make sure this else goes with this if. Making sure this else goes with this if. So what if I had something that looks alike at this? A nested if statement. Okay. Code listing 3.3, we just glanced at it. I come in and say, I need this to use to test for more than one condition. There used to be a game, 20 questions or something. I don't know. Within 20 questions, can I think of, can I figure out an object you're talking about? So you start to come up with good questions like, is it above water? If it is, then I go from there and I say, does it fly or crawl? And by the way I ask yes or no questions, I can eventually figure out what's going on. I used to have this game. It used to be a little pocket thing, and you know, you could ask it. Yeah. So if let's see, if it's above water, it's a W. If it's below water, it's that's my else. So I'm going to say if, and I'm just going to use CH equals. I didn't leave myself much room up here, but what I'm writing is if CH, which is a character, equals, let's see, above single quote A. If it's above, somebody's just about to tell me I need two equals. If I only put one equals in there, it would say that's fine. If CH gets the value of A is true, and it would keep going in the program. So be careful that we want to do a comparison. We want to make sure it's equal. If it's equal, I may come in and say, new question. If option number 2, does it fly? So if my second character, if CH2 equals, let's see, single quote F for fly, then I might go yada, 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 else, yada, yada, yada kind of deal. So I'm going to input and store in CH. And if it's an A, that's above water. I come in, if it's an F, that's fly. I could respond, I bet it's a bird. Else, I bet it's an insect kind of deal. So I can put anything I want inside of these braces. And again, stay in that habit. Whenever you type a left brace, type a right brace. Down here, I might have something that says if this time if char2 equals S, then I'll yada yada yada. Else I'll yada yada yada. It's below water and it swims. It's a fish. If it crawls, it's a crab. Crabs. I guess there's other stuff that crawls underwater. Questions. And again, we saw that example here in 3.3. Some of you are starting to say, this stuff's easy. If I type in the code listings, I know what's going on. I hope. I hope that's why I spent all the time to pick this book. Questions. Questions. Dun, 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 dun. Section 3.4. We have nested if else. Nested if else. Check out the layout. If, else, if. Well, I don't need to indent, to line this guy up to this guy. This is another twist on using if else statements, but I write it in a way because imagine if I indented if else, if else, and after a while, this is much easier to read. The salary is greater than 250,000. Notice there's no comma in there. No dollar sign. Make a note. There's no comma. And there is no dollar sign. That's just the world of computers. If I come in here and I do something, or I do multiple things, if I want to put braces, I have to for multiple. It's optional for a single. So if I do this, salary is greater than $250,000. That would be awesome. Else, so again, if I had line numbers, after I executed this line number, it's going to go way down here. Moving on in my program. It skips all of this. If it's not greater than $250,000, I'll come in and say, else, if salary is greater than $100,000, ah, you must have done well in college. Congratulations, da da da. Skips way down and out. Else, if salary is greater than $50,000, whatever goes on in here and out. Else, well, you must be a professor. You must be. Now, this else takes care of everything else. And it's almost like a default. We went through all of this, default, and I'm out.
This is a similar setup to the grade code listing, correct?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay,
Yeah, there it is. Boop, there
awesome.
it is.
And then I do have another question. I think it's up here.
Okay.
Okay, so you do enter the numeric grade into a dialog box. I see that now in this code listing.
Right
Um,
here.
yeah,
And remember, when it comes in, it's a string. Okay, we just started doing these. It's a
yep.
string, and then I have to convert that string to an integer
So
because
that
I
I
want
can
it to
use the
be an integer.
information.
So I can use it in my comparison.
Got it.
Yep. So I need to bring it in and then convert it. This is what we just finished up with in chapter 2.
And then another question for you, like in a
Yeah.
larger program, would you, and you wanted to, what's the word, kind of format with the brackets again. If there was an additional method underneath line 32, let's say, you would put your bracket at the beginning of line 23 and then after the else at line 31?
Means to move on in the program.
Yeah,
Once, so if I do line 23 and it's true, I go to 24 and then it goes to 33.
got it. Okay.
After I would complete line 26, it goes to 33. So we don't need braces in here. Here's what's telling the computer what's going on. The
Got it. So the if
semicolon.
ants just kind of all together and tells the computer what it's doing.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
got it. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. So here's an example of it. It's the classic example. Almost any language or any textbook you would come with. This is a great example of introducing the if, else, if, else, if, else, if, else statement. And again, this is like the dialogue box, catches everything that's left. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty good. Pretty good. Okay. Sections 3.1 to 3.4. All right. So we have a nice amount of time, and I have 3 little programs I'm going to have you work on in your breakout room. But before we get started, I need to try to train you to think a certain way. Okay. And if I said, I want you to write a program to calculate pay with overtime, first thing you would do is open JGraphs. Ba-ba, open JGraph. No, no, not yet. Not yet. But these are the 3 programs we're going to have. But I'm going to take this number 1 and I'm going to work with it a little bit. So I'm going to figure out my pay. All right. First thing, test data. All right, good. What do I need to know in order to calculate my pay? Well, I need to know how much I get paid, what's my rate, and how many hours I worked. Okay. Then I can come up with whatever my pay is. So I want to come up with good test data for two reasons. One, when I'm done with my program, I want to make sure it works. Two, as I'm doing this, I may actually be able to write my code a lot easier. So it's going to benefit in that way. So I need to come up with some good test data. Somebody give me some test data.
Double hours, I guess.
No, no, what I'm looking for is some numbers in here. Start to give me some numbers. What's your pay rate? Keep it easy.
20 hour, $20 an hour,
Yep, that's good. How many hours?
1 hour.
1 hour. What should your pay be? 20 times one is $20. Okay, I'm all right with that. What if my rate was $20 and I worked 0 hours?
Zero, I guess.
Yeah, it should be zero. What if I get paid zero and I worked 40 hours? What should my pay
Zero.
be? Yeah. So you see where I'm testing some boundaries here of what's going on. What if I just do a simple 10 and 10? That should be 10 times 10 equals 100.
You should do a 20 and like 47 hours as well to
Okay.
test the
Let's
over.
do 20. How about we do 40 hours first and then 20 and 50 hours? Uh, 40 hours, 20 times 40.
800.
Good. Uh-oh, we have overtime. How do you calculate this? How did you know we have overtime?
Because he's working 10 hour more than
Right?
40.
It's 10 more than 40. Give me another way to say it. Say it in computer world thought. Like if I'm doing a computer program and I'm thinking, uh-oh, if,
Hours is greater than 40.
yeah, side note, if hours, however I input it, is greater than 40. I don't need equals to 40. I don't need anything like that. But as I'm building this program, I'm thinking computer language. All right. So, okay. How do I calculate the pay here?
It's gonna be, in math terms, would be time and a half. So you would do your rate and oh goodness, how would you put that in computer
Go
form?
ahead. It's your rate times
40, then
40. Yeah, I'm going to do that first. So if my hours is greater than 40, I have a different formula than up here. So that's my regular plus
10 hour.
10 hours. Okay. So again, it's going to be the 20 times 10 times 1.5. Here's my pay for the first 40 hours. Here's my pay for the overtime. How'd you get that 10? How
10
did you,
extra hours.
yeah, but what was your calculation? Think
You
computer
subtract,
language.
you subtract from the hour you work to the more hour you work. So like 40 hour minus 50.
Right here. I think it's going to be the number of hours minus 40. Number of hours minus 40. Ah, okay. Cool. Let's code this bad boy. Let's write some stuff down. I'm going to use pseudocode. I need to input rate. I need to input hours. I think at this point, what became important was this question right here. If uh, hours is less than or equal to 40, pay equals
Rate times hours.
rate times hours. Else, pay equals right here.
Rate times hours plus.
Not hours. This wasn't hours. This was what? This is going to be a straight constant number. So it's going to be rate times
40.
40, right? This is why I get paid for the first 40 hours plus
Rate.
rate times.
Hours minus 40.
Yeah, I'm going to put that in parentheses though. Order of operations, right? Times 1.5. What's that 1.5 tell me I should be working with?
Double.
Yeah, yep. So I just followed my code up here. This was my rate. This was times 40 for the first 40 hours. This was my rate times I had to calculate that times 1.5. So when I'm doing this, my test data, this just flows. Display rate, hours, pay. I like it. Yeah. Algorithm, an algorithm right here, sometimes referred to as pseudocode. Does that help? Do we like that? Thumbs ups? Any thumbs ups? Give me an emoji. So now, yeah, this is good. Yeah, there they come. Thanks, Al Haji. Thanks, everybody. This is, we have test data. We have an algorithm. My program is going to write itself. All right? I'm going to put you in groups. You have a nice amount of time here to do these. First one, calculate the pay with the overtime. Second one, separate program. Determine if a number is odd or even. The third one, if you get time, here's that quadratic again. And again, if you don't get it done today, meet up with your group on Wednesday and work on it. Do it on your own. But when you complete these, you complete me. When you complete these, publish them under chapter 3 on the discussion board for everybody to see. Pay it forward. Help each other. All right, I'm going to put you in groups. Again, get your cameras on in your group. One person type, one person spot check the typer, one person have a book available. Figure out what roles you need, because the better you all work together, the better you'll get through all of these programs. Do I have any questions? Going to make 5 rooms. 4 of them will have 4 people. 1 of them will have 3 people. Don't be sneaking out. Don't be a dictator. Don't be a freeloader. You'll get known quickly as a freeloader. I will have students email me and say, every time so and so is in our group, they don't even turn the camera on. They don't say anything. They're just freeloaders. I don't want to work with them anymore. And then I have to spend time making sure so and so and so and so don't work. So everybody get along. It's not high school. This is college now. All right. I will be around. If you have a question, feel free to ask me. But let's program.